would be remiss if we didn't go ahead and visit some of the hormones that regulate metabolism and all that stuff. How do we know how much sugar we should put out into the blood or take back up? How should we respond and all that stuff? Well, hormones have a huge role in that. We're going to be talking about glucagon, insulin, epinephrine, norepinephrine, cortisol, and thyroxine with triiodothyronine. So I am going to borrow some of these charts that I used earlier on in the last video, talking and discussing about general metabolism. And I'm going to put off to the left the main goals behind each one of these hormones. Insulin being the one to decrease high blood sugar levels and push it into the cells that need it. So how is it going to do that? Well, obviously it's going to increase the cell uptake of glucose. You want any type of tissue wants glucose, better pull it up. Get that GLUT4 channel opened up, get it in there, shove that sugar in, let it do its thing. Well, we also want, if we really want to clear out that high blood glucose, then we might as well go ahead and store it up in the liver too, or in the muscles. Let's do some glycogenesis. Let's move that sugar and store it up as glycogen. Remember, you got type 1, type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is when you are not making insulin. Type 2 is your cells being insensitive to insulin and all that wonderfulness. Glucagon, its main level is to increase blood sugar. You don't have enough blood in your sugar in your blood. That would be my problem, is having not enough sugar in my blood, or blood in my sugar, coursing through these veins and arteries and all that stuff. But in this case, glucagon is there's not enough sugar in your blood. So what is it going to do? Well, if there's some lactic acid or spare pyruvate acids sitting around, let's make it into glucose again, because those body cells need it. Glycogenolysis makes sense. We have extra glycogen hanging out inside our liver. We need it to maintain our bodies to be happy, healthy, and strong. Let's push it out as glucose into our blood. And those of you that are critically thinking right now, yes, you are correct. If insulin is screaming, we need more sugar, then very well the body is going to say, hey, we need to jack up more sugar levels into our blood because we're not getting enough sugar into our cells, so it releases more glucagon, or at least forces the pancreas to release more glucagon, which causes the liver to try to release more sugar, which can be, oh boy, a problem. Cortisol, that's your stress. What it wants to do is also increase that blood sugar, but it wants to do it via metabolites only. It only wants to make lactic acid and all of those other things into glucose so that it can be used in different parts of the body to handle stress well. Again, this is happening mostly in the liver. It does actually convert some of those amino acids floating around into pyruvate, so it can also make it into glucose and be useful. Epinephrine norepinephrine should be somewhat familiar with the autonomic nervous system, the fight or flight or the rest and digest response. The fight or flight response being the ones being with epinephrine norepinephrine. You want to survive. You want to fight, or you're going to run as fast and as hard as you can. What are you going to do to try and help that out? Well, epinephrine norepinephrine is going to induce glycogenolysis. It's going to take up all those storages that have come up and to this moment, this climax, to make you run and get that sugar going in your blood. Get the max transport of glucose out into those muscles in that brain. Finally, the last two hormones we need to talk about is the triiodothyroxine, which is your T3, as well as T4, which is just plain old thyroxine. You got a basal metabolic rate is its main goal. It wants to make certain that you are nice, warm, and toasty. You're getting enough the energy to be able to do anabolism. Anabolism means to build up, right? So what's it going to do? Well, it's going to induce gluconeogenesis. It's also going to break down fats. You want glycerol, you want fatty acids and ketones going in there and doing its thing, being transformed into energy. Again, it's trying to maintain a basal metabolic rate. It wants to help you grow healthy. So what's it going to do? It's also going to induce the formation of amino acids, the building blocks to proteins, which is pretty much every backbone of almost everything. Bones, protein, collagen matrix, cartilages, the extracellular matrix, the outside proteins, enzymes, all that stuff. Yeah, you need you need amino acids to build proteins for all of those. Another thing that is related to the basal metabolic rate is the rate at which your energy that you are using or creating out of glucose isn't perfect. Some of it escapes as heat. So a lot of factors can mess with it. If you are exercising, it makes sense that you're creating more energy, so you're creating more heat. Therefore, you need to cool down. Your nervous system can increase that heat release. Your body temperature obviously has a negative effect on the creation of heat. If you're hot, do you really want to be hotter? Let's tune it down. Let's turn down that basal metabolic rate. You're ingesting food, all right, let's do something with it. Age, you're getting older, your basal metabolic rate goes to pot. Gender, climate, sleeping, and malnutrition all have a way of messing with your metabolism as well. Something that I didn't mention is about the hormones, which hyperthyroidism and hypothyroidism now should make a little bit more sense to you. Hyperthyroidism, you're releasing that T3, T4, which induces even more an increase in that basal metabolic rate, increase your body temperature, which means if you have a higher body temperature, would you really want to be exposed to more heat? No. Hyperthyroid individuals are going to be wanting to avoid the hot temperatures. They are super sensitive. It's like, oh no, it's so hot. It's 78, it's only 71 degrees, but it's so hot. While the reverse is true of hypothyroid individuals. They are very sensitive to the cold. They can't make enough body heat. They go, oh, it's so cold. It's 78 degrees in here. It's so cold. Another ways to go ahead and do it is via sweating. The fanciest way to say this is you're underneath the sun with radiation. Conduction, convection, and evaporation mostly have to do with sweating, as well as maybe just holding on to that cold glass of water or licking up that ice cream. With that, that is the end of our discussion on the hormones and the basal metabolic rate. Thank you very much and have yourselves a wonderful day.